Questionary of Social Geography. What is transport geography? Is a subdiscipline of geography concerned about the mobility of people, freight, and information at spatial organization and focuses on answering the questions what, how and why it's being moved. What is transportability/mobility about? The ease that a passenger or a freight unit can move across a transportation system. What are the four major factors that influence mobility/transportation? Weight, a simple indicator of the amount of energy that must be spent to carry the cargo. Storage, the difficulty related to keeping a cargo in inventory before it can be used. Fragility, the easiness at which the cargo can be damaged during transport. Perishable, the cargo downgrade after being harvested or crafted. What are the three major representations of the friction that distance imposes on transportation? Euclidean distance, a very elementary way of representing distance is a simple function of a straight line between two locations where distance is expressed in geographical units such as kilometers. Transport distance, a very elaborated representation that accounts for the existing composition of the transportation network. Logistical distance, an elaborated representation that encompasses all the tasks required for a movement to take place between two locations. What are the two major types of derived transport demand? Direct derived demand, movements that directly affect economic activities, without which they would not take place. Indirect derived demand, movements made by the requirements of other movements. What are the examples of direct derived demand? Commuting, traveling, deliveries and transport and distribution. What are the examples of indirect derived demand? Services, warehousing and energy. What are the operational differences between passengers and freight transportation? Passengers board, get off and transfer without assistance. Process information and act on it without assistance. Make choices between transport modes without assistance but often irrationally. Require travel accommodations related to comfort and safety. Freight must be loaded, unloaded and transferred. Information must be processed through logistics managers. Logistics managers meet choices between transport modes rationally. Require accommodations related to storage. What is atomization? What is massification? What is urban geography? Is a subdiscipline of geography that focuses on how cities, their internal systems and structures, and the external influences on them. What are urbanized areas? Are areas where cities and towns are located so close together that political boundaries become imaginary lines. What is a city? A permanent settlement that has large size, high density and social heterogeneity. What is a primate city? Is the largest city in a state which it is generally 2 or 3 times the size of the second largest and represents a national culture. What is a mercantile city? Is a city where trade is central to its design which are stimulated by trade routes. What is a manufacturing city? Is a city formed in the Industrial Revolution. What is a world city? Is a city whose socio-economics impact the entire world. What is a megacity? Is a city whose population is greater than 10 million people. There are over 25 of them today. What is a town? Is an urban area which is generally larger than a village, but smaller than a city. What is a village? Is a small settlement of 5,000 to 5,000 inhabitants usually found in a rural setting which is usually larger than a hamlet but smaller than a town. What is a hamlet? Is a small settlement that has no central place of worship and no meeting point and is smaller than a town or village. What is a metropolis? A major city together with its suburbs and nearby cities, towns, and environs over which the major city exercises a commanding economic and social influence. What is a megalopolis? Is a chain of large urban areas or cities that adjoin one another. What is an urban influence zone? Is the area around a city that is affected by it. Tourism geography. What is leisure? The time available on an individual when work, sleep and other basic needs have been met. What is recreation? Pursuit engaged during leisure time. What is tourism? The activities undertaken during the stay and the facilities created to cater for their needs. What is rural tourism? Tourism focused on countryside activities. What is urban tourism? Tourism focused on multiple tourist activities in which town and cities is main destination and place of interest. What is spa tourism? Tourism focused on multiple tourist activities that involve health and wellness. What is ecotourism? Tourism based on nature activities that conserve the environment, sustains the well-being of the local, and involves interpretation and education. What is sport tourism? Tourism focused on travel which involves either observing or participating in a sporting event while staying apart from the tourist's usual environment. What is heritage tourism? Tourism focused on tourist activities about the world heritage, culture, history and nature of cities. What is acculturation? Adoption of certain cultural and social characteristics of one society by another society. What is ecological footprint? Impact of human activities measured in terms of the area of biologically productive land and water required to produce the goods consumed and to assimilate the wastes generated. What is carrying capacity? The maximum tourist population that the area can sustain without damaging the environment. What is alternative tourism? An umbrella term for all forms of travel opposed to mass tourism. What is conservation? Action taken to protect and preserve the natural world from harmful features of tourism, including pollution and overexploitation.